started off with this Stamping Bella all boxed up a Bella image that I stamped with Memento Tuxedo Black ink onto Bella's Bestest white cardstock. Say that 3 times fast. And then I cut it out with a circle Spellbinders die. And then I'm just using Copics to quickly color in the image. Normally I use my Prismacolor pencils and odorless mineral spirits on my Bella images because they're so fine and detailed, but I'm planning on doing a bunch of paper piecing, and I also was running really short on time when I made this card, so I wanted to go fast, so that's why I chose the Copics. So as always, I did the skin first, did her hair, and then for her shirt I'm just using YG03 and YG25 and then blending them together. Not going into a whole lot of effort with the blending because again, it's such a small image that there's not a whole lot of like room for blending. And then the little tag, I'm just using like W3, W1, and then blending it out with W00. And then last but not least, going on to the ribbons of all the packages. And I'm using R83 as my lightest, and then going in with R85, which is my medium color. Once I've got that down, I'm going in with R89, which is my darkest, and this one is really dark, so trying to use a light touch with that. Not worrying too much about going outside the lines a bit because, like I said, I'm going to paper piece a whole bunch in this. So once I've got the darkest on, I go back with my R85 and blend that out a bit, and then finally use my R83 again to blend that out the most. So then once I've got that done, I'm going to go on to do my paper piecing. So I'm using pattern paper. This is from the Simple Stories Fabulous 6x6 pack, and I'd already stamped and cut out all the little pieces for the packaging. A couple of them are pretty easy. Some of them it's a little bit of fussy cutting with detail scissors, but it didn't take too long. And then I'm just using my Tombow Mono Multi to adhere everything. So the first package, I stamped it twice to get the stripes in 2 different directions, just for a little bit of visual interest. And then this is the one that took a little bit of, you know, fussy cutting just to get around everything. But then you get that down. And then finally the last piece is the lid. So got that all cut out and then adhered. And obviously I'm not going to leave everything as is because it's just floating there basically. So you kind of want to ground the pieced papers. So first off, I'm going to color all the dots on the package. So I'm just using my BG49 Copic for that. And that's starting to tie it in. And then finally I'm going to add some shading to everything, and that's what really kind of finishes it off. So I'm using a W5 first and adding my darkest bit of shading, and then I'm going to blend that out with a bit of W3 once I've got that all down. So yeah, blend that out a bit with W3, and then once that's all blended, I'm just going to use my W1 just to blend it out just a little bit more to finish it off, and that's all there is to it. So you can just see it just finishes everything off so it all ties in together and looks like it's supposed to. And then finally, I add some shading around the actual image itself. This one I'm using W3, then I'm going to blend it out a little bit with W1, and then finally I'll end up using my W00 to blend it out completely, and then it's done. So get everything blended, and I am done with the main image. So just like on the paper piecing the rest of the card, I'm going to use the same like Simple Stories pattern papers. I die cut a scallop circle with my Spellbinders die from brown cardstock just to mat the main image. And then I cut some strips of the different pattern papers, and then I'm just going to eyeball it and use my scissors to cut little banners basically from all these pieces. Kind of no rhyme or reason to them. I'm just going to kind of layer them on the side. I think I had seen a sketch somewhere when I went to make this card, and of course I had made this a couple months ago, so I don't remember, so I can't link to it, but if it looks familiar, feel free to let me know where you saw it. But yeah, so I cut all these little banners, and then I just adhere them onto the card. And then with the main image, I decided to add some ribbon, so I just had some aqua color ribbon that matched, so I grabbed that from my stash, just satin ribbon, and then basic old Scotch tape. You can get it at Walmart. Just tape the ribbon to the back of the card front. So get that taped down, making sure I got it lined up. Like I said, I was running out of time here, so my hands, of course, nothing is like going smoothly like it's supposed to. So I cut a second piece of ribbon, tied that in a bow. I get asked a lot. I do have a video on my channel about tying bows. This is just like 10 years of practice, basically. Sometimes it comes together first try, other times I have to undo it and redo it like 6 times, but this time it came together first try, fiddled with it a bit, and then trimmed off the ends. And then for the main image, I want it popped up a bit, so I'm going to use dimensionals. I always link to these in my supplies. I get mine from Jody. And these circle ones I almost always cut in half just to get more use out of them. So get those layered onto there, peel off the backing, and then that's done. And then for the sentiment, I'm using a sentiment from my It's Your Birthday stamp set. So I'm inking it up with VersaFine Onyx Black ink and stamping it onto just this scrap of aqua colored cardstock. So got that, and then I'm going to punch it out with my Stampin' Up! Modern Label punch, like my go-to punch. I use it on everything. So got that, and then I used another half of one of those dimensionals on the one half and then a bit of adhesive and stuck that on, and that finishes off the front. So I'm going to use, I'm going to mat this with a piece of the same aqua colored cardstock just to tie everything in together. And once that's done, I'm going to put it on the card itself. The card base is the same brown cardstock. Again, keeping things consistent. And of course, I couldn't leave it as is. You gotta have some glitter. It's a birthday card. So I grabbed my fruit punch stickles and gently dabbed those onto mostly the center of all the bows. Just trying to apply it as thin as possible because then it dries faster. And I added it to a few of the little stripes on the box, and that was it for the front. So then for the inside, I grabbed some more pattern papers, die cut another circle and scallop circle for a place to write a message. And then once I've got everything adhered for that, I'm going to add another sentiment. And then this one, again, stamp it onto the aqua cardstock with the VersaFine ink. And then just trim off the extra bit of cardstock there so that my punch can reach that. And then just use Modern Label punch again. It fit perfectly. So that worked out well. And then I'm going to adhere that to the inside and then adhere that, all of that to the inside of the card. As always, there'll be a link below to my blog post with links to all the supplies used. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!